Good evening. It is Saturday, the 30th of May, and I guess I'm making another video about all the BS that's going on in the United States. I'm at a loss for words for the different things I'm seeing on social media. And I guess by rights I shouldn't be on social media because I have a short fuse. I get pissed, I get upset, I want to kick somebody's ass, and that's not a good place for me to be. So I'm going to try to do this quickly so I don't use up a lot of your time. I am grateful for those who watch this video. I am grateful for those who listen to my words and understand what I'm saying. This world is in a quandary. And if you don't know what a quandary means, it means this world is fucked up. We have a president in the White House, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Donald Trump because he's a dumb ass. But we have a president in the White House who incites violence. He incites division. He incites conflict, turmoil, and chaos. And in my 60 years of being alive, I have never witnessed a president of the United States act so irresponsibly as I am witnessing Donald Trump do now. He started out his administration, his presidency, being stupid. He has now elevated his mindset and his actions to being dangerous. When you mention shooting people who are looting, when you mention sending in the armed forces into cities that are protesting the death of a Negro at the knees of law enforcement, when you didn't send in any kind of military action to stop all the senseless killing of people of color, now you want to send them in to stop people of color from protesting. The problem is not the protest or the protesters even. The problem is you have given people in the United States a reason to protest because you're killing people of color. And I'm not going to waste my time telling people to be calm and don't riot and don't loot and don't break shit. I say burn this shit down because nobody is going to do anything unless you make them do something. The United States government under Donald Trump is not interested in stopping the problem or eradicating racism or correcting police who use brutality on unarmed citizens. The Donald Trump administration is concerned with one thing only: being reelected so he can fuck America up for 4 more years. Do we want that? Do we honestly want to have Donald Trump in the White House through 2024? That's another 4 years of him fucking shit up in America. The man sits and talks about everything except what's important to Americans right now. That's the coronavirus, COVID-19, and people being killed for a $20 counterfeit check. Come on. If you got a $20 check, whether you know it's counterfeit or not, and you use it, is that worth you dying for? Is that a new sentencing guidelines that you pass a bad bill, rather not a check, a bill? If you pass a $20 bill and it's deemed to be counterfeit, and the man didn't get a trial, nobody took the bill and tested it to see if it was counterfeit or not, they just killed him. Nobody knows whether he had a counterfeit 20 or if it was just alleged to be a counterfeit 20, but he's dead. Then you got a coroner or medical examiner, whatever he is, who says, well, he could have had intoxicants in his system. He could have had pre-existing underlying conditions like a heart condition or high blood pressure, or skin color was the wrong skin tone, or, all those things could have attributed to him dying. But the 200-pound man who had his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, 2 minutes of which he was not moving and unresponsive, meaning he's already probably dead at that point. That man having his knee on his neck had no contributing factors to his death. The medical examiner said he was not asphyxiated, he was not suffocated, he just, might have died because he had some alcohol in his system. Or maybe he had high blood pressure. Or maybe he had a heart condition. Maybe he was an angel with wings. Who knows? Maybe he was a unicorn. But what we saw in the video was a knee on his neck for 8 minutes, 47 seconds, as he told people around him, including the officers who killed him, I can't breathe. Does it get any more simple than that? So what the medical examiner has done by saying it was probably an underlying pre-existing condition, he's setting the table for an acquittal. That's what he's doing. He's putting it out there in the public domain that this man didn't die because he had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes, 46 seconds. He died because he's black. And black people have high blood pressure and heart conditions, and they drink. That's what killed him. Gasping for breath with a knee on your neck, that's not a cause of death. Not in Minneapolis, anyway. I don't condone violence unless you're defending yourself. But I had somebody tell me today that violence begets violence. That is true. Violence does beget violence. And you have to understand the violence that has beget the violence you see now, the burning and the looting and the pushing back against law enforcement. That violence was beget by 460 years of slavery, oppression, genocide, and just plain dislike of people who look like me. So again, I go back to cause and effect. You can't take the effect of something and blame that as what started it. Cause is what always starts something. Cause starts the effect. The cause of all this unrest and all this turmoil, all this chaos, all this hurt, pain, is the killing of an unarmed black man in cuffs. That's the cause. The effect of that is the rioting, the looting, the marching, the protesting. You can't get rid of the civil unrest or the dangerous unrest or the looting, rioting. You can't get rid of any of that until you get rid of the cause. It's simple. It's simple to people who have logical minds, which does not include Donald Trump or his administration. So my message to people is stop looting, stop rioting, have peaceful protest, peaceful march, but don't stop. That's what happened with Ferguson and Baltimore and all these other places where people were killed who had no weapons and had no reason dying. We stopped protesting. We gave up because they arrested somebody, but then that person they arrested was never convicted. Don't give up. Don't stop. Get out there every day and every night and protest until something is changed. Do it peacefully. And that's another thing. We have outside agitators coming in here. Some of them are cops. Some of them are Klan members. Some of them are white nationalists. Some of them are Nazis and skinheads. We see them in the crowds. They're not people who even live in these cities. They're coming there to bring their drama and make this something that it is not. This has nothing to do with right or left, Democrat or Republican. It has to do with humanity. We're all people trying our best to live in a world with other people. You can have whatever mindset you want, but I tell you this, if they continue to come after people of color, they're going to also include other people in this at some point. Gays, lesbians, transgender, bisexual, questionables and ones. Yellow people, red people, brown people, pink people, purple people. Eventually they'll get around to the white people. These are people of power. The police department in every city on earth, in the United States rather, the police department in every city, town, country, little hole in the wall in the United States is a member of a gang with no supervision, no laws, no rules. They do what they want to do. Biggest gang, biggest mob there is are law enforcement officials and officers. They kill with impunity. You want to stop that? Make the laws change. Here's my advice to all black people who are legal. By legal, I mean you ain't got a record, haven't been to prison, ain't an alcoholic or a drug addict, and there's a lot of us who don't fall into those categories. Learn how to shoot, man. Go to the range. Buy a gun, get a license, get a carry permit. The next time you're in a situation where your life is in danger, put your hands down. I'm telling you this. Hands down, shoot back. And once cops start to drop like the flies that are us people of color who are dropping, they'll stop this shit. This is a war. Coronavirus, COVID-19 is not a war, as President Trump has said. It ain't a war. It's a virus. It's an illness. It's Mother Nature kicking our ass. What is a war is people in blue uniforms and white shirts and wearing guns on their hips, calling themselves law enforcement officers, are killing us, hunting us, running us down with trucks. We need to fight this as a war. Arm yourselves. Be legal. It's your right, just like it's them white folks' right who we saw at the state capitals with automatic weapons strung across their chests. They can put an automatic weapon across their chest and go protest in the state capitol on federal land, state land. They can do that and live. We can't run down the street or walk into a store without dying. That's got to change, and it only changes when you arm yourself and defend yourself. I left the military in 1985. And ever since my foot stepped on ground that wasn't military ground, I went and got a CCP, which is a concealed carry permit, and I've carried ever since then. I'm a right below knee amputee. I'm not going to fight with you, wrestle with you, argue with you. I'm going to shoot you when you threaten me. That's my philosophy. Don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. And that goes for law enforcement or anybody else. Negroes, people of color, arm yourselves if you're legal. Defend yourself and your family. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend was woken up in the middle of the night by having his door kicked in by law enforcement with a no-knock warrant. She's dead, he's in jail because he shot at them, not knowing who they were. And they lied. Law enforcement lies. They didn't say, we the police. They had a no-knock warrant, which means you don't have to announce yourself. You bust the door down, you go in, you do your dirty shit. The justice system ain't set up for people of color. It's not set up for you and me. It's simply not, that's not how it works. They don't care about you and me. The Second Amendment wasn't written for you and me. Second Amendment was written for slave owners. It told the slave owners, hey, you guys can form a militia and keep these Negroes on the plantations where they belong, because they're starting to get together and do uprisings and want to run away. So you are allowed, via this Constitution amendment, to form a militia, hunt them down. You can bear arms. That's what the Second Amendment was written for, nothing else. Stop slave uprisings. And now, all day long, you got people talking about it's their Second Amendment rights. There ain't no slaves around here nowadays, at least it's not supposed to be. So why do you need a Second Amendment giving them, the right to form a militia and bear arms? Okay, I've done my rant for today. Going back in my hole. You guys be good. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Above all, stay alive.